Greetings, lovely human beings on the other end of the screen. My name is Val, and I'm very excited to be bringing you this video today. It's crazy. I still experience this massive jolt of electricity coursing through my system every time I'm about to make a video. And you know what? It's probably compounded by the fact that I've had 2 cups of coffee today and nothing to eat, and also been neglecting my sleep recently. So yeah, it's contributing to the concoction of emotions and energy that is currently flowing through the system. But I wanted to bring to you today a very important topic, so I wasn't going to let all these feelings in my body stop me from sharing. And today is one of the most, I think, one of the more contentious videos that I'm going to share with you today, that I've shared with you so far. And it really is going to be talking to you about the anti-mainstream way in which I quit viewing adult content. And yeah, it's going to be completely in contrast to what most people have heard, especially if you guys have been following the NoFap and semen retention communities for some time. What I'm going to say to you is going to be kind of in contrast to what a lot of the channels out there are telling people is the solution to their issues. And it can actually, in many cases, it might actually be shocking to some people what I'm about to reveal to you. So yeah, just to start out, when I started working with my sexual energy, I started really realizing that, adult content was doing a lot of damage to me for a long period of time. I was viewing adult content, ever since I was about 10 years old. And I thought it was perfectly natural to be watching the amount that I was watching, and that there wasn't really a specific problem with it. But later on I found out that, this is definitely doing a lot of damage to me on an energetic level, on a physical level, on an emotional level, definitely causing me to, view females in a certain light that I shouldn't be viewing them in, as tools for pleasure rather than actual human beings. And also the same thing in just, I think, people in general. I started viewing people as what can I get from these people versus, they're actual human beings with their own lives and are just as unique and interesting, really, as I am as a human being, And when you start viewing other human beings as objects, you start to view yourself as an object. And that's what I was doing. Not only was I objectifying the people around me, but I was objectifying myself in the process. And that is a very dark place to be, guys. And unfortunately, I think much of the world at large is addicted to viewing adult content, especially the male population. But I'm also hearing that a lot of females are also being funneled into this more and more these days. I think they're also starting to be affected by this machine at large. And I started working with my sexual energy and sexual transmutation. My real introduction to it was the NoFap community, and anyone who's been involved in the NoFap community knows that this community is a community that relies on sort of like abstaining from masturbation, abstaining from pornography, abstaining from, in some cases, sex, if you're doing what they call hard mode. And I engaged fully in this. I was like, okay, cool. I need to stop doing this. I need to stop masturbating, because honestly, I had been going for many years. I hadn't stopped every single day. Even when I was sick, most likely I would masturbate. Very few days did I go for, like, I'm serious when I say this, 20-something years, because I discovered masturbation at a very young age, and then when porn was added to the mix when I was about 10 years old, things just skyrocketed. And I'm speaking as somebody who recently discovered his own methodology that flies in the face of everybody else is saying about how to regain control of your sexuality. Okay, and control is a bit of a harsh word, guys, because we don't want to control our sexual energy. We want to be able to express our sexuality in a healthy fashion. And what does healthy expression look like? You know, this is what I will be painting a picture for you. I'm going to propose to you guys out there that porn is actually not the problem that you think it is. Now, might sound a bit strange, guys. Porn is not the problem. Okay, porn at the end of the day is just pixels on a screen. Okay, how you then react to the pornography, that is the issue. That's the proper issue at hand here. I think in general, especially the male population, has a tremendous difficulty in experiencing feelings of pleasure in their bodies. Okay, we're being told by society that as soon as you experience arousal in any shape or form, that it is an itch that needs to be scratched, that it is something that is to be gotten rid of. Okay, you either have to go engage with a female to relieve it, another person, a partner to relieve it, or you have to go take care of it yourself, often through, you know, pornography. And this is, I think, we've programmed mostly the male population, as I said, females are also becoming susceptible to this, but we've programmed the male population into having a very toxic relationship with those feelings of arousal that come up in the body. Okay, with the feelings of pleasure. And I think this is also because of the rat race that we're engaged in. We're told that in order for us to be productive, we have to suffer. Okay, we cannot be experiencing pleasure. Pleasure is not part of the equation. We can't possibly be experiencing pleasure and still be productive human beings. And I think this is a very flawed methodology. I believe that human beings at large have become this kind of masochistic society where we hurt ourselves, and we think that by hurting ourselves, that is the only way to achieve something. I'm here to propose a very, very different technique. So, in contrast to what most people, so NoFap, basically what they say to you is, you know, you need to stay off all social media. You can't be on Instagram because, you know, Instagram, if you come across even like a small hint of a female body, like some scantily clad woman, that it's only a matter of time until you have to go and relieve yourself, until you relapse, until you have to go and masturbate. And I think that this is absolute hogwash. Okay, this is genuinely, it is a narrative that we are filling young man's heads with. NoFap, at the end of the day, is just a new and improved version of sexual repression. Okay, it's like you're trading one addiction for another. You're trading the porn addiction for an addiction to not masturbating. That's what I believe, like, coming at celibacy from the wrong angle will teach you. And I started yo guys, how's it going? My phone overheated, and definitely trying my patience, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, back to the video without further ado. So basically, I started to see that this whole method of going about dealing with your sexual energy was severely flawed, because it was just based on repression, you know. And I truly believe that any system of repression is just going to lead to, it's just unsustainable. It's just going to lead to it exploding in some other way. You know, if it doesn't explode in terms of like a relapse into sexual compulsion, it's going to turn into a compulsion in other regards. You know, you might now become addicted to working out all the time, and you can hurt yourself. I definitely did this. It's like, okay, cool, I feel the sexual energy, I'm just going to work out the entire time, ignore it, distract myself, and then it'll go away. This is a very unhealthy mindset. It's just such a, you are disowning a part of yourself when you do this, you know, because you're not accepting this energy for what it is. You're not accepting this energy. As I said, you're seeing this energy as a scratched itch, as something that is supposed to be gotten rid of. And that's a part of you. And you're literally saying, I need to get rid of a part of myself. You know, in whatever way that you do that, whether you go and relieve it, or which doesn't really relieve it, it just causes it to come back stronger, or whether you go and work out, you know, it's about the intention behind it. You know, I think it's about reclaiming choice. It's not about this whole like having to go on extreme celibacy streaks, like NoFap streaks and all this kind of nonsense. I think that's the reason I never could get past 30 days, because I've never been good at using willpower. And you know, for me, as I said before, willpower is force. Willpower is supposed to direct and channel energy. It's not supposed to be what you rely upon in order to like manipulate and micromanage every part of your inner world and outer world. It's supposed to be more about flow. The willpower is just a way of sort of directing that flow. It's not about containing that flow in this repressive manner, you know. A proper container channels the energy, it doesn't block it. And so what I started to do, I started being inspired by artists. And artists showed to me, like, you know, what do artists do? They draw nude women. A lot of times the woman is before them, and they draw the nude woman, and they're able to behold the form of the woman and not completely lose their agency. Okay, maybe some of them do. Maybe some of them have to go relieve themselves afterwards, walk into the next room to furiously masturbate. You know, I don't know what everyone's doing with their lives, but surely there are some artists that are able to behold the female form and still remain in complete acceptance of what that female form triggers within them, and as a result become responders to that energy rather than reactive to that energy. And that's where I think true mastery comes in, you know. So what happened with me, I developed a technique that is going to fly in the face of everything else that you're seeing online. I've never heard anyone speak about this, right? And I started, instead, I realized that there was all of this resistance in me towards watching pornography. Okay, all of this resistance in me. And so what I started to do is, instead of resisting, I gave myself permission to view all the pornography that I wanted, all of the naked women, you know. And what did I do? I sat in observation of what was going on the inside, without taking any sort of physical action to that, without trying to get rid of it, without trying to relieve myself. And this didn't happen overnight. This took some attempts, guys, for me to get this right and get into the correct frame of mindset and the correct perception. It's a practice, okay? If you think you're going to get this overnight, maybe some will. Maybe someone just meant to know this, like, off the bat. For me, it took a while, okay? Working with the subtleties of what I was experiencing in my body. So what I did is I observed what this image, these simple pictures on the screen would trigger in me. And I'd go deep in to my body and I'd feel what's happening in my nervous system, okay? Rooting or like detecting where these subconscious programs are taking over, you know. And subconscious, a lot of it is bodily sensation. So I started noticing that my pelvis would tense up in a particular way, that my breathing pattern would change, that my thoughts would change, and that I would be inserting myself and into that image or into that image and working with it. And I wasn't being neutral towards that image. I had all this charge, the subconscious charge attached to that image of woman. And when I started to do this, I also started to be able to decouple myself somewhat from all of those feelings that I was experiencing. So I say that the porn isn't the issue. The porn is just pixels on the screen. The issue is that you're losing your agency to an outside entity, even if that actual outside entity is a woman. You know, if you lose control over yourself because you're unable to experience those feelings of maybe lust and all that, or that you know, that tension in the body, that sexual tension, if you're unable to experience that and relax into it and accept it, instead you want to get rid of it, that's when you start to lose your agency. That's when the subconscious program takes over, and that is when you may do things that you didn't intend to do. But instead, by accepting the tension, accepting the emotions that are generated, the energy that comes up for you, we can start to go deep into our central nervous system and actually start to reprogram ourselves, repair our relationship to our arousal circuits, repair our relationship to the image of woman and what that stirs up for us men, and also in turn reclaim our agency from these subconscious programs that society has sort of like embedded in us, And it's just that it's not ignoring our primal nature as men. Of course, on a biological level, even a young woman is going to have an effect on us. Okay, but we don't reclaim control, and I don't like the word control, obviously, but think of control in the ways that, like, we don't lose our agency. It's from full acceptance of those feelings. It's not by trying to bottle them up. It's not control in the form of repression. It's control in the form of a channeling and flow. When you try and stuff those feelings down, that's actually when they get stronger, because what you resist persists. Okay, so in this very anti-mainstream way, that is what eventually led to me having this degree of mastery that I have now. And I can say, for the first time in my life, I actually am experiencing a level of freedom when it comes to my sexuality, because I've reclaimed choice. Okay. And that's what it is about at the end of the day, guys. It's not about these long NoFap streaks of like, oh, I didn't masturbate for 30 days or 90 days or 1,000 days I'm seeing some guys do. First of all, I highly doubt it, especially if you're going through it like the willpower route that I'm talking about and you're not properly transmuting that energy. But also, like, what's the point here, guys? The point, in my opinion, is to reclaim your sovereignty, and these like streaks and counting the days and all this kind of stuff. It just seems like another like giant dick measuring contest to me, guys. What benefits are you accruing from this? It's superstition, in my opinion. You're thinking that just because you don't masturbate or orgasm, all this kind of, and don't ejaculate, that your life is going to be magically repaired by this one thing. In my opinion, you're focusing on the wrong thing entirely, guys. It's about reclaiming choice. If you want to ejaculate, then you ejaculate. Not because some outside thing is dictating to you your schedule, so to speak. Yeah, guys, so I just wanted to bring that to light. I think that we need to repair our relationship to our arousal circuits. We need to repair our relationship to the image of woman, and we need to reclaim our sovereignty. We need to take that energy back. Okay, we need to remove that objectification of women and really be aroused by the correct things. Take action on the correct things. Don't let your subconscious programs take control, because this is what we're trying to do, guys. If you actually do the technique that I'm talking to you about now, you will see results like you've never seen before, and it might take some time. But what you're going to start to, if you really get into your body, you're going to be able to see where that arousal is triggered, the various tension patterns that you have, and those are those subconscious programs, the breathing changing. And if you can relax and you can remain present through all of those feelings, okay, that is when you will now start to diffuse some of that energetic charge. That is when you're going to repair that relationship to your arousal. And you will start to see that porn will naturally lose its attraction because it's just not going to do the same thing that it did to you anymore. Yeah, you will defuse those subconscious programs and you'll catch arousal in its early stages rather than when it reaches like 70% and it overwhelms you and gets you to do like ridiculous things that you wouldn't do if you were present and you were observant of your actual feelings, and if you actually felt your feelings instead of trying to repress them. Alright, guys, I hope that has shed some light on my method for doing what I do. yeah, I've developed other. I'll maybe talk to you about them in future videos. Develop some other techniques that sort of sped up the process, and yeah, basically like some hard mode techniques that sped up the process of me acknowledging my arousal circuits and rewiring my central nervous system. So yeah, guys, go deep into those subconscious programs, feel your feelings fully and fully accept them, and then you can really transmute that energy, and you can transmute any emotion in much the same way by accepting it, not trying to get rid of it, and feeling it fully. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next video.